Hi everybody, I hope you're all inside and you have nice clean hands. And let me introduce myself. I'm Jacob Vercel. I'm a tour guide here in Israel. And like most places, we're more or less on lockdown. We can only leave our homes for 100 yards radius. We can go shopping, we can go to the pharmacy. If you have a doctor's appointment, you can do that. The only people who are working are people who are important for the defense industry, for food industry, that sort of thing. So what I'd like us to do is together let us just kind of forget our troubles for a little bit. And I'd like to start a virtual tour of Israel. And I'd like to begin with the 10 best things to see in Israel. And, or my favorite 10 things. There's a lot, and it was kind of tough for me to do, but let's begin with number one. And actually, I'm going to pre-begin with what you see here. And this is the lookout from the Mount of Olives. If you come to Israel and you've seen, you've seen what there is to see here, it is really, really an amazing sight. Of course, the Dome of the Rock, the Old City of Jerusalem, the Kidron Valley, Garden of Gethsemane, very, very much worth seeing. So before you begin Jerusalem, your trip, make sure you go to Mount of Olives lookout site. I'll talk about this later, but two things to remember there are, number one, don't buy anything, because the vendors are the people that steal your money. They're the pickpockets. And number two, there is a restroom there. So actually, I'd like to begin with talking about the Old City of Jerusalem. That's really the first thing. And when a lot of people talk about the Old City, they usually want to go to the Arab market, the Shuk. And it is, as you go in Jaffa Gate, or you can go in Damascus Gate, either way, you have a market greeting you. It's very colorful, very pretty, very different, and it looks more or less the same. Don't go early in the morning because a lot of the shopkeepers don't open till about 10 o'clock. The best time to go is in the late afternoon, and especially when it gets hot in Jerusalem, and most of the time when you do travel to Jerusalem, it does get hot there. So my recommendation is not going when it's really hot, okay? Now, the streets in Jerusalem are really beautiful. By the way, most of these pictures are my pictures. I'm also a photographer. Not that much of a cinematographer, but a photographer. So I'd sort of like to talk about the streets there. This is in the Christian Quarter, and I think when you go to the Christian Quarter, you should really make an effort to really see what's there. It's the Christian Quarter is one of the nicer quarters, and people usually just kind of walk by it, go to the Church of the Holy Sepulchre, and then bug out. And not a good idea. Of course, the wall. One thing people want to see when they come to Jerusalem, they want to see the Western Wall, and of course, when you go to the Western Wall, you have to put your note inside. Now, the second place I'd like to talk about is one of my favorite places. Really, I like it even better than the Old City, I have to say, and that is the City of David. The City of David is a really, really interesting place because you literally, and it's just outside the Old City, literally you walk across the street and you get there. It is a national park, but it has a special status. So I really recommend going there because you get to see something called Warren's Shaft. Now, Warren's Shaft, when you go inside, if you're claustrophobic, don't go. But it is really a network of, some of these water systems are more than 3,500 years old. This one, Warren's Shaft, this is the Canaanite one. This dates from about 1750 BC, about the time of Abraham. So really, really an amazing site. Now the next place I want to talk about is a must-see, and this of course is Masada. Masada is an amazing, amazing site. It's about an hour and 15-minute drive from Jerusalem. Be sure to get there early in the morning. You want to get there about 8 in the morning, because if you get there later than that, you hopefully in a few months you'll run into the tour buses and it can get quite crowded. And most people just go, if you're on a tour bus, you probably won't spend more than an hour on top of the mountain. You just don't have time to see what there is to see. Now, you do see the highlights, but unfortunately, when there's a lot of people, you tend to do, I don't know, it seems to me you're more in with the hundreds of people that are there with you rather than seeing what's there. So I suggest going and being there when it opens at 8 o'clock. You can either walk, taking the snake path, which takes about 45 minutes, or what I recommend is to take the cable car. Now, I recommend to take the cable car because you're in Israel probably for a very short time. And if you take the cable car up and down, you've saved an hour and a half. That's another sight to see in the Dead Sea area. Now, about the sunrise of the Dead Sea. Guys, I've done it more than once, more than twice. To see the sunrise in the Dead Sea probably means you have to leave your hotel in Jerusalem at 3:30 in the morning, maybe 4 in the morning if you're there. Most of the time you should know that you won't see a sunrise like this. It will be cloudy 90% of the time, and people do it, I think, just to say they've done it. I just don't think you have to do it. That's my opinion. I think what I recommend is going to Tsfat. Now, Tsfat is, we're kind of segueing here. I'm segueing here. But what I'd like you to talk about when we go to Tsfat, Tsfat's in the north. And you should, if you come to Israel, be here at least 5-6 days. And you do want to move around. You don't want to use Tel Aviv as your base. Jerusalem is a better base. But stay in 2 places. Stay in Jerusalem, stay in the north, probably in Tiberias. Tsfat is about an hour from Tiberias, maybe a little less. And Tsfat is this fantastic Jewish city that is known for, today, its shopping. The artist colony, it's a nice place to shop. And of course, the ancient synagogues. I wonder who this guy is. Anyway, this is the Ari synagogue. This is the one you must see. However, when you come to Tsfat, don't come, no, on the Sabbath it's all closed down. Don't come to Tsfat on the Sabbath. And if you have a tour and Tsfat is planned on Saturday, call the tour company and say, whoa, what'd you do? It's closed. I don't know how many itineraries I've gotten where the tour company has the visit to Tsfat on Saturday. It's all closed up. You can't walk around. And also you don't want to come on a Monday or Thursday because they have bar mitzvahs on these days. And the synagogues, which are the main reason to come to Tsfat, are closed. Remember, Tsfat is the home of Jewish Kabbalah. Now, of course, another great place to see is the Sea of Galilee. The Sea of Galilee is beautiful, and it's in the north. And if you should have your hotel on the Sea of Galilee, either in Tiberias or on the other side, there's some great hotels on the other side. I recommend the Cité if you've got a Platinum American Express card. If not, stay at Kibbutz En Gev. They've got a great camping ground. They also have a nice little 3-star hotel. Very much recommend doing it. Now, one of the if there is a sleeper site in the land of Israel, it's the Bell Cave of Beit Guvrin. The Bell Caves of Beit Guvrin are absolutely fantastic. They really are worth visiting. And let me tell you, this picture here is my wife. She looks like Scotty's beaming her up here. But it really, really is worth doing. I highly recommend visiting the Bell Cave at Beit Guvrin. Now, don't just visit the Bell Caves. You've got other caves to see too. I would recommend spending half a day here. This is a special cave underground where doves were bred. for meat, fertilizer, sacrifices. This dates about maybe second century, I think second century AD. A very, very interesting place. Really, really, really cool place. Caesarea is where most tours start. If you're on an organized bus tour, you land in Ben Gurion Airport, you spend the first night in Tel Aviv. I hope you'll have some time to see Tel Aviv. It's a cool place. Not on my top 10. Tel Aviv is worth a visit if you've got time to spend in Israel. But most places begin with the tour in Caesarea. I think you should end the tour in Caesarea. Caesarea is a really neat place. It's got this fantastic Roman aqueduct to see, which is not, by the way, the aqueduct is free. You don't have to pay to see it. Just when you come into Caesarea, follow the street signs and you'll get to where you're going. It'll take you to the aqueduct. The Roman aqueduct dates from, this one dates from about 150 AD. And another view of the aqueduct. And of course, you got to take your picture here under the arches. Now, the second sleeper site in Israel, that most tour buses don't go here, is Mitzpe Ramon, the Ramon Crater. And this is a natural phenomenon here in Israel. It is unbelievably beautiful. If you come here, you'll want to stay at one of the two hotels. There's a 5-star hotel called Bereshit, probably one of the neatest hotels in the world, and I really mean that. It's an absolutely fantastic place. There's a nice 4-star hotel, the Ramon Inn, great food. And what you'll want to do is, at the Mitzpe Ramon, is take a Jeep tour or a bicycle tour. And of course, me as your tour guide, I can arrange that for you. Another place that most tourists don't get to is Eilat. Eilat is on the very, very, very southern tip of Israel. It is a great site because of the coral reefs that are here. And this is actually a picture of the Coral Reef National Park. And what you can do is rent fins and snorkel for $5 at the park, at the national park. They have that all ready for you. And if you don't like to swim, you're afraid of sharks or anything, and there aren't sharks here, what you can do is they have these piers that go over the coral reefs, and you just you stand the steps, stick your head in the water with your mask and snorkel, and look at the fish. They're literally under your feet. Eilat is a neat place. Guys, after that, what you should do is you should meet the people. You know, when you come to Israel, Israelis are so friendly. One of the few countries where they really like Americans, yeah, in Israel. And if you meet the people, and if you book a tour for me, through me, I always have a part of the tour where we go into someone's home and we actually meet locals, Druze, Christians, Jews. You can have a Saturday night Kabbalat Shabbat with a religious family, a Jewish family. This is something that is a very, very important part of the tour. So I really recommend you doing this. So guys, that's what I have to say. I hope you enjoyed this little part of the film, this video I made. Now, my next videos I'm going to be taking each one of these sites and talking about what there is to see here. Jerusalem, for instance, the city of David, Eilat, Caesarea, Tsfat. All of these are absolutely fantastic places to visit. Really worth the trip. And hopefully you'll be able to get on a plane in the not so near future. So guys, till we meet again, stay safe, wash your hands. Okay, bye.